Okay, so let's come up with a pretty useful little script, and it's gonna tell us how much money we've made, right? So basically, what I want to say is kick it off with telling the user um, print um, do um, so if you think about how figuring how much money you make during your shift, right? We're going to need two things. We're going to need how much you make per hour, and then how many hours you've worked, right? So I'm going to need to get those two variables from them. So I'm going to say we need to have an hourly wage variable. And so the way to do this, in a previous video, we could just do the input as, let's say, how much do you make an hour? Okay. And this will work, right? I could even print off. I can print that back to us, and you can see that it will work. And remember, the way to print is I just say, so you said blank per hour, and remember I just do dot format, and the thing I'm talking about there is hourly wage, and close off my parentheses, right? So now when I save this, I have to save this, and remember I want to save this as, let's say, wage.py. Okay, so now when I run this, watch what happens. I go Python Interactive, and it says, okay, you want to know how much money you made? Okay, how much you make an hour? Let's say $8 an hour. So you said $8 per hour. But something weird happens. I want to do a little bit of math with that. So if I say, okay, let's have the amount be equal to, well, I'm going to take my hourly wage times 8. Let's just assume that we were working an 8-hour day. So now I want to print out, so you said that per hour, so you must have made dollars. So the first thing is how much we make per hour. The second spot I'm going to drop the information is called the amount. So I'm going to put it like this, the amount. And watch what happens. How much do you make an hour? 7. So you said $7 per hour, so you must have had 777. So something went really screwy here, right? In fact, it printed off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times. If I change this to 10, really the only thing that's going to change, right, is now when I run it, I'm going to say, how much do you make an hour? 5. And judging by that last one, yep, we're going to have 10 5s printed off. So we've got to have some way of telling us that what the user is going to input right here isn't, like if they say 5, they're just saying like 5 as an item, not 5 as a number, right? And so what we want to tell is to say like, okay, we're going to input an integer value, right? So we'll put in 8. So let's resave this now. And now our hourly wage, the computer will know that it's a number, and so then it will multiply by 10, so whatever we put in there, it should be 10 times as much. Okay, let's run it and cross our fingers. Hopefully it works. Okay, how much do you make an hour? So if I say 7 times 10, we should make $70 that day. Booyah. Okay. So an interesting thing comes if I run my program again. You notice last time I gave a nice whole number. What if I say it this time? How much do you make an hour? What if I say I make $8.25? Right? It's going to give me this thing. and it says my hourly wage, how much you make an hour, that's a invalid integer, right? Well, because 8.25 is not an integer. So if we want to be more precise, we can use this float. So now if I save this, now float just means, okay, I'm going to use some decimals with this. Right? So now if I run this, I can say if I made $7, like $7.50 an hour, 7.5 times 10, 7.5. Okay. So now to make this kind of the final version, basically what I want to do is I want to have my hourly wage, how much you make an hour, and I want to have work hours equal to I'll use float in this one so they can use decimals too, the input of this question. How long did you work in hours? That's probably a better way to phrase that question. And so now I'll have my wage, I'll have how long they worked, so I'm going to create a third variable, and this time I'm not even going to ask the user what it is, right? I'm going to say total, so your total is going to equal the hourly wage times the work hours, right? And so now my print thing, I have 3 variables, and I'm just going to print them back all to us. And I think that's a pretty good strategy for right now, just so you can see where it went wrong. So like you said, blank per hour, right? Then if that messes up, then you can see if there's an error there. So I'm okay with us saying, okay, so it must be this many dollars. I'm just going to add this thing. So you said blank dollars per hour, and you worked blank hours. So you must have made blank dollars. So now I have 3 things. Hourly wage, I think I changed that variable name. I have hourly wage, work hours, and total. So hourly wage, work hours, and total. Walk hours, that's not good. So now let's see if I can run this right here. How much do you make an hour? I make $7.50 an hour. How long did you work in hours? I worked 5 hours. 7.5 hours for 5 hours, you must have made $37.5. So you see how you can individually check each one of your variables was stored correctly, and then you can double check the calculation at the end. So that's a good way of figuring out and in a lot of Packet 1, what we're doing is we're asking the user a couple things, and then we're going to do a little bit of math behind the scenes. The math we're going to do gets a little bit more complex, so watch the video about finding the equation on the line, and I think it will kind of expose you to the level of problem we're going to be doing.